Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Unity of Boulder for our Palm Sunday service today. Our speaker today is going to be Jack Groverland, who's going to be speaking about the truth of what Palm Sunday really means. So, well, you're already here, so stick around. I've got a few quick announcements just of things coming up here. The big thing is next Sunday we are having our Easter performances. We're going to do them at 9 a.m. and 11 a.m. You do not need tickets. You can just come right on in. We are well known here for putting on big productions with our Unity band, our choir, our soloists. So definitely come check that out at either the 9 or the 11 a.m. Each service will be the same. So it doesn't matter which one you come to. If you have friends or family or neighbors that you've always wanted to bring to show them the beauty of Unity of Boulder, this is the time to show them what we're about. And that is next Sunday. Following that, on Thursday, April 4th, right here in this room, we're going to be having a benefit concert called the Peace Through Music Concert. And this is a concert, I believe it's in its 11th year. It's the second year that it's being held at Unity of Boulder. It's a benefit for a few local charities that are here in Boulder. One is called Boulder Muse, and what they do is they raise money to put musical instruments in the hand of underprivileged children and teach them to use it. That could be anything from a drum set to a flute to a tuba. It's a wonderful group that really is hands-on and really gets things done. The other organization it benefits is called Streetscape Outreach, and that's a group here in Boulder, and what they're dedicated to doing is not just helping homeless people today. They are helping homeless people today and in the future and get back on their feet and back on track and join back in to working society. So the two wonderful local groups. The concert is Thursday, April 4th. It features all different types of music, a choir, band. There's even a rapper. It's $20. You can get tickets here or online. It's $20 or $10 for youth. Or it's $30 at the door and $15 for youth at the door. So definitely come and check that out and enjoy the service.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Unity today. This is the point in our service, which is a call to prayer. And so you have little sheets in front of you. If you have someone you'd like to pray for right now, you can write their name down. You don't have to write down what the issue is. We know that God already knows what we need before we ever ask. And you're always welcome to write your own name on there as well. And Steve Sheets, who's the head of our prayer partners, will come down this middle aisle and collect the names and then bring them to the prayer box over here that will be prayed over for the next 30 days here at Unity of Boulder and then sent off to Silent Unity at Unity Village in Kansas City for a following 30 days. All right, but we always sing this song to call us into this world and leave our minds outside these doors and come into the presence of this love that we are, the guidance that we are, and to bless ourselves of this remembering of the healer that we were born as. And here we go. You are the air I breathe. You are the air I breathe. Your holy presence And so it is. And we'll call the choir up here. Choir.
Good morning, everyone. Today is known all over the world and in parts of Boulder as Palm Sunday. It is this day, Palm Sunday, that Christians commemorate the triumphant entry of Jesus into Jerusalem, although hardly any of them know why it would be considered the triumphant entry of Jesus into Jerusalem, because this entry marked the beginning of the last 6 days of the life of Jesus, in which he was crucified. But it is, in truth, a triumphant entry. But to understand it, one must seek deeper into the scriptures that relate the truths of those last 6 days in the life of Jesus. I'm going to begin with this particular PowerPoint. I want you to try to follow it as best you can, because I'm going to be leading you to the truth of the triumph of that entry because it relates the destiny of every human being. Can we have this first PowerPoint, please? Jerusalem in the original Hebrew means city of sacred peace. The city of sacred peace. And most of you know that that does not represent Jerusalem today at all. And if you think it represented Jerusalem in the time of Jesus, you'd be seriously mistaken. Because at that time, the Romans occupied Israel, and they imposed harsh duties and penalties on the Hebrew people all the time. So it has nothing really to do with the geographical, historic Jerusalem. But why is it called the city of sacred peace? And that's for us to consider deeply. What I'm about to share with you is the Palm Sunday story, which is a metaphysical drama, and it reveals the timeless truth for all people that would be seeking in those scriptures to understand if life really does have a divine purpose. And you will understand along with me that most people are born into the world and the definition of the world, and it doesn't hold out the idea that there is, a divine purpose. We have religion that tries to tell us to be good to one another and things like that. But do you really understand that there is a divine purpose to the lives we are living? And that purpose is revealed in this story around Palm Sunday. To enter the city of peace is the goal of the spiritual journey, that sacred peace. You've heard me use the term mystical peace. In the Hebrew, it's the sacred city of God, the sacred peace of God. And I use the idea, the mystical peace of God. And so we should understand from the outset that the mystical peace of God is different than the mundane peace of the world, which is the ego-centered definition of life in the world, only has peace when one's personal expectations, desires, and plans are being met by circumstances. That's different than mystical peace. Mystical peace is the enlightened state of awareness in one who has become God conscious, so that the awareness and the presence and the majesty of being aware of the divine love, truth, insight, and wisdom of God is more than anything the world can offer. It's mystical peace because nothing that takes place in circumstances can take you away from that joy and that love and that peace, which Jesus said surpasses the understanding of the world. We should know this going in, that the understanding of the world has nothing to do with mystical peace, because the world itself is based on an illusionary definition of life. And the world, from that definition, only has peace when a person's expectations and desires and plans are being met by circumstances. That's the mundane world. You're going to find out that the purpose of life is to transcend the mundane thinking of the world. And that is the destiny that we were called to make manifest ourselves. So that you may know that that is our destiny, I want to share this next PowerPoint with you from the Palm Sunday experience. Can we have this next PowerPoint, please? You can read this in the Gospel of Luke, chapter 13, 31 to 33. At that very hour, some Pharisees came and said to him, "Get away from here, for Herod wants to kill you." And he said to them, "Go and tell that fox, behold, I cast out demons and perform cures today and tomorrow, and the third day I finish my course. Nevertheless, I must go on my way today and tomorrow and the day following, for it cannot be that a prophet should perish away from Jerusalem." And there's a couple of things here. Prophet, as it's used in the New Testament, sometimes means teacher. It sometimes means devoted seeker. So what is this actually saying? That it cannot be that a devoted disciple of God should perish away from Jerusalem, and that word could be interpreted outside of Jerusalem. Why is that? Why can't that be? That can't happen. Has never happened and will never, ever happen. That a truly devoted seeker of God will perish outside the consciousness of peace, the sublime peace, the mystical peace of the presence of God. That's true. Nothing can make it anything but true. And that is exactly what this whole Palm Sunday story is about. It is a call to all human beings who are seeking more sincerely to know what is the purpose of life. And the purpose is that we should find our way to the core nature of our being, which is made in the image and likeness of the living, present God, not a distant, separate God beyond the stars, but a present, accessible nature of God here and now. And accessing that alone will bring you to your destiny as a divine being going through a human experience. Without arriving there, without having taken the journey seriously enough that you entered into that divine consciousness, you will never really know what it meant to be truly alive. So a seeker, a divine and devoted seeker, cannot perish outside of the consciousness of mystical peace. That means a peace that allows you to be in the world, carrying on your life in the world, doing the things that you do in the world, but no longer of the world, so that the changing tides and circumstances of the world are not going to take you away from the joy and the peace of God consciousness. That is the sublime peace that Jerusalem actually represents. So, in short, mystical peace is the state of mind we are seeking, the state of mind all those who have mastered life have entered. The historic entry of Jesus, the triumphant entry into Jerusalem, is perfectly and beautifully depicted in the movie made for television titled Jesus of Nazareth. You may want to see it if you get the opportunity. If it's still around, you can pick it up. I used to be able to show sections of that movie, but The world has become so greedy that we can't show it. So I can't show the movie. I can't show the sections of it. But there's some beautiful things about it which are true about the Bible. The film has Jesus entering Jerusalem. And he has the Hebrew people throwing palm leaves. We have this beautiful backdrop here to make up for it. They're throwing palm leaves on the path for Jesus to ride into Jerusalem on. But wait a minute. As you see the movie, he's riding in on a donkey, a baby donkey. His feet are actually dragging on the ground. How can that be a triumphant entry? You see? You see how it grabs you? It breaks the tradition of the world and takes you to something else. What is it saying? What is it saying? Well, Jesus is fulfilling the prophecy that we will all fulfill if we are going to enter into the consciousness of mystical peace and enlightened state of mind. And it comes from Zechariah, a book written 1,800 years before the birth of Jesus. And here is that prophecy. Can we have this next PowerPoint? This is Zechariah 9:9. Rejoice greatly, O daughter of Zion. Shout aloud, daughter of Jerusalem. Lo, your king comes to you, triumphant and victorious is he, humble, and riding on an ass, on a colt, the foal of an ass. Riding on a baby donkey. No white horse. A triumphant entry would be a white horse. You ride into the city, right up on the temple steps. You shout to everyone, this is the way it is, and this is the way God wants you to be. No. That's not the way into the consciousness divine. That's not the way into the enlightened awareness of being. That's not the way into insight, truth, joy, wisdom. It's not the way. That's the way. And it will always be the way. And the prophets have always said it's going to be this way or no way. Don't you remember what he said to his disciples in the Garden of Gethsemane? They wanted to know, why is he allowing them to do this? To take him. He said, if I wanted to, I could call in legions of angels and change this. But I'm showing you the way into the consciousness of the living, present God, which you have managed to ignore. And it is that way. You can leave these PowerPoints up while I'm talking for a while, because some people have asked to have that, so they want to continue to read it over or, I don't know, take notes about it. Triumphant and victorious is he who masters life, humble and riding on an ass, on the colt, the foal of an ass. So it's beautifully depicted in that film, and we sense now that these scriptures are not about revealing the divinity of one Jesus of Nazareth. In fact, the entire New Testament is not about revealing the divinity of Jesus. It's about revealing the divinity of humanity. So we have to seek more sincerely to find our way into the purpose of our existence. Then comes the shock and awe of the next thing that Christ did, riding into Jerusalem. Can we have this next PowerPoint, please? That's not it. No, that's it. You can read this in the Gospel of John, chapter 2, verses 13 and 21. The Passover of the Jews was at hand, and Jesus went up to Jerusalem. In the temple, he found those who were selling oxen and sheep and pigeons and the money changers at their business. And making a whip of cords, he drove them all with the sheep and oxen out of the temple, and he poured out the coins of the money changers and overturned their tables. And he told those who sold the pigeons, "Take these things away. You shall not make my Father's house a house of trade." The Jews then said to him, "What sign have you to show us for doing this?" Jesus answered them, "Destroy this temple, and in 3 days I will raise it up." The Jews said to him, "It has taken 46 years to build this temple. Will you raise it up in 3 days?" But he spoke of the temple of his body. Wow. Can we take this back again, please? The Passover, that holy time of the Jews, on this big holiday, it was at hand, and Jesus went up to Jerusalem. In the temple, he found those who were selling oxen and sheep and pigeons and the money changers at their business. And making a whip of cords, he drove them all with the sheep and oxen out of the temple. And he poured out the coins of the money changers, and he overturned their tables. And he told those who sold the pigeons, "Take these things away. You shall not make my Father's house a house of trade." However, everyone living in the initial definition of life as being strictly physical, in a world of separate physical others and separate physical phenomena, everyone living in that level of thinking is living, and their temple is nothing but a house of trade. That's all anyone in the outer-directed, illusion-driven world is involved in: trading to improve their lot in their physical, separate, personally oriented life. That's all they're interested in, and they have no recourse to the true peace, the true understanding, the true insight, the true love, the true wisdom, the true healing of the presence of the living God. They have no connection to it whatsoever, because trade owns their consciousness. So maybe you want to know how that all got started with the pigeons and the sheep and the oxen. I mean, they're out there. You saw in the movie, does it very well. They're all there. People are arriving to worship in this temple. But they have to have an animal sacrifice to God. This is what they have to have. According to the Pharisees who were running the place. And they had to come and they had to buy the pigeons and the sheep if they didn't have any of their own. They'd have to buy animals in order to sacrifice to the Pharisees of that time, the priests of that temple. And so they not only were picking up the money changers are there, they had to change money because some people were coming from distant lands to do this great day of worship, doing the Passover, and they had to have their coins changed into shekels and the money that was acceptable in that area. And what do you think these olden day Pharisees were involved with. Do you think the Pharisees have disappeared from human experience? No, they haven't. In fact, the best interpretation of Pharisee is hypocrite. The hypocrites have nothing to do with true worship. You know where the ideal came from that the Pharisees got a hold of? It came from the ideal of the deep teachings of the master truth teachers that man is involved in a transformation, and what is transformed is his animal nature. The sacrifice you are supposed to be making to God is surrendering the animal nature, not that you destroy it or you get rid of it, but that you put it in its place under the guiding consciousness and intelligence of God, so that it is not controlling what it is you think and do. It is not moving you to make war on other human beings so that you can prevail and have more of the material sustenance that you think in the false definition of life that life is all about. It's not doing any of that. It's saying to you, humble, surrendered to the divine awareness that is at the core of your nature, is your destiny if you ever want to know what it means to be truly alive. That's all there is to it. But the Pharisees say, oh, we'll have them sacrifice animals to us. We'll live like kings. We'll have more of the material benefits. We'll even have the money that money changers take, because they're not going to do the fair trade there, out there in the temple. So until we come on to the spiritual journey, our consciousness is nothing but a house of trade. And today, look at the Pharisees that exist today in the pharmaceutical industry. You want to see what they're doing? Just look at some of their commercials. Some time or other, if the divine ever prevailed over collective humanity completely, there would be no such thing as that commercial and other commercials like it, just to give you something that's going to point you back to this truth. Just watch the commercial that they have now for a vaccine for shingles. It's diabolical. They had to audition special people that had a voice that could sound so sinister, so scary, so terrible. It's a betrayal of human awareness. That's all that industry is involved in for the most part, a betrayal of who you really are and should come to know yourself to be. Children of the living, present, loving God. That's what we are, but we're never going to get there, not if the pharmaceutical industry and the oil industry and the people who have risen to the power of trade have anything to say about it. You will always only be consumers. And that's why you have scripture like this. It says he made a whip of cords. And he said, get out of my Father's temple. You will not make it a house of trade. And so we find ourselves looking at it very seriously, openly. And he said to those Pharisees, tear down this temple and I'll build it up in 3 days. And they said this temple has taken 46 years to build. But they didn't understand because he was speaking about the temple of his body. Can we corroborate that? Is this whole thing that's written here about the journey of Christ in you, going through all the changes that are necessary for us to transcend the limited definition of life given to us by the world? Is it possible that this is an internal journey, not historic, may have been historic, but it wouldn't even matter? The fact is, the Bible writers wrote this for all humanity to come to know this next PowerPoint. Can we have it, please? In 1 Corinthians 3:16, the apostle says, "Do you not know that you are God's temple and that God's Spirit dwells in you?" Do you not know that you are God's temple and that God's Spirit dwells in you? Do the people in the outer-directed, illusion-driven world of trade know that? Do the people in those think tanks that sit around trying to sell you the next pharmaceutical drug, and the names they come up with now to try to keep you to remember them? Make sure you check in with your doctor about this so you can get this drug. And don't worry about the side effects we have on these drugs. You want to get well, just take our drugs. Can you imagine the possibility that there's a place in our evolution where there will be no hospitals and no doctors? Because in our schools, we won't be just teaching our children to read and write and do mathematics so that they can be good traders in the world. We'll be teaching them to meditate and keep in touch with your core nature. We'll be teaching them to know the truth of the divine creative ability of human beings when they operate from an awareness that everything that they look upon is sacred. It's not about a separate, distant God beyond the stars. It's about right here, right now. Everything we're involved with is sacred, only we don't know it. And the pharmaceutical companies and all those companies that live high on the hog, live high on your taxes, live high on the money that you spend on drugs that give you side effects that are worse than the actual problem that you had to start off with, all of that is all contrived to keep humanity in its ignorance. And if there is any such thing as evil, that is it. Thus, the seeker of peace, love, harmony, takes to task his or her own awareness to try to settle the issue and make the priority for his or her life the divine priority. It's not that I surrender my personal life or the things I choose to seek in the personal world. It's that my awareness is no longer controlled by the illusionary definition of separation. It is controlled by the awareness of the divine God of all life that says to you, pursue whatever you want to pursue. Only be available when you are called to be appropriate. In this moment, this needs to be done. Can you do it? In this moment, this person needs to be helped. Can you do it? In this moment, this service for this church is calling you to step away from your personal life of trade. It's all it's asking for, and do it. Will you do it? If you do the practice, you might be able to do it. If you do the practice and you know the joy and the love and the insight and the peace that comes from God consciousness, you can do it easily. You're not giving up very much. But can you practice doing it till you get there? Can you practice doing it until you get there? Can you practice meditation? Can you practice peace? Can you practice forgiveness? Can you practice consideration? Can you practice true love? Take a few moments for meditation together. Take a couple of deep breaths. As you release the breath, release any cares or concerns that you may have. Just become willing to become present. And remember this, there's no penalty from the universe for not being awake. The errors you make while you are not awake create the only penalties. There's no separate penalties. And let us bring our minds gently into the truth in this mantra. God is love. Love is life. I am God's life. I am. God is love. Love is true life. I am God's true life. I am. I am. God is love. Love is true life, recognizing all life is sacred. I am God's true life. I am. I am. Breathing in the I, breathing out the M. I was born to be sacred. Breathing out the M. I am God's sacred creation. Breathing out the M. I am God's true life, sacred, at peace. Breathing out the M. I am. I am. I am. as we go forth from this meditation to those places we occupy in time and space, let us go forth with a greater determination to be present in the awareness that everyone, everything is sacred. For this opportunity and every moment, we give thanks. To this we say, Amen. We'll take an offering for unity now. As we're preparing to do this, I just want to share a true story. When we were over in the church on Spruce Street and still paying it off, we were hoping to try to be able to raise enough money to build our own church. And we weren't coming near able to do that financially. But we were covering our expenses in those days and going forward. But then at a talk similar to the one I just gave, a man came up to me and handed me a check for $30,000. And a short while after that, he gave me $200,000 in gold to begin to build this church right here. So I'm speaking to all of you who are watching this on screen, and to all of you that have maybe benefit some degree from Unity of Boulder. Maybe you're out there, maybe you do have the kind of money where you really wouldn't miss that $50,000 or $100,000 that would really help us. I don't know. As we bring our offering to mind and our offerings into our hands, let's bless them with this offering statement. Divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive, because I give. And so it is. We have an opportunity to listen to this Unity Ensemble once again.
Hosanna, Hosanna, blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord.
This is the closing of the service, and if you have a prayer need today, we have prayer partners available to you, and if they could stand up. At the very completion of the service, after we sing a couple numbers together, you can stay seated, and they'll come and meet you and take you down to our beautiful meditation room and pray with you. You don't want to miss the Easter production. It's incredible this year. We're putting a lot of work into it, so you'll want to be singing with us, and it's going to be really just a love-in experience. So the services are at 9 and 11. Invite your friends and family to the service, and obviously they'll be live-streamed both services as well. And we have fellowship after the service in the fellowship hall, so join us for food and community after we close with Let There Be Peace on Earth. And we'll just stand up where we are right now and sing Let There Be Peace on Earth. Here we go.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be, with God as creator, family all are we. Let me walk with my family in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be all moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow. To take each moment and live each night in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Out to the whole world.
And they say that a church that dances together stays together. Here we go.